I ain't even got no theme music. What's up, world builders? Good afternoon, good morning. It's still morning. And I'm Chase Sloan. Of course, I just want to come to you guys, hit you with some end of the week thoughts as we wrap up this first week of the year. So if you've already looked at the title, then you already know that we're going to be talking about habits, gates, tips, and I got one grant for you. But I'm only going to share the grant at the end. So if you don't pay attention to the end, you might miss the grant. But of course, if you want to find out for yourself, you could just skip the live and click on the link in the bio, and we can have a conversation with you separately. So I was looking back, and I've been talking to some friends this week just on just everything that's been going on, right? And this is like the first full work week of the year. So this is the one that counts. And a big question, I don't know if you guys are like me, yet a big question that has been coming out is, what are your goals? What's your word? What are your resolutions? And I think, like most people, I don't really have answers to all of that. I actually think maybe even a few years ago, I don't know if I just kind of stopped subconsciously to stop setting New Year's resolutions, or if I just gave myself permission to ease into what felt right. However, the point of the matter is, I don't really just sit on the 31st and say, this is what 2025 is going to be like. And so, what I love about that is I feel like I do it at my own pace. And a lot of times, goals are set at your own pace. Because here's what I think happens, especially with New Year's, right? We set these big, bold, just badass goals. And we feel really excited about it. We brag about it. We go put it in our vision board. We tell people about it. We do all the things. And here we are, first Friday of the year. How close are you to accomplishing those goals, right? Yet here's the thing. And I love this conversation that I had with my team. And we were talking about really habits, right? A goal is nothing but a habit that you need to set for yourself. And so many times I think we focus on the outcome and this future self that we almost diminish the process of becoming. And we hide or we don't do because, well, I'm not that thing yet, so I don't want to show this process, right? Even me going live, right? I'm a speaker. I speak. This is what I do. Going live is one of those things that I can do to become that thing. But if I never talked to you until I stood on the stage, number one, how would I get to the stage? And number two, how would you know to listen to me, right? So this is me practicing when I preach. So like I said, I had the conversation was first on habits, gates, tips, and grants. So when we're talking about our habits, one thing that I want to do, I took my notes, and I think it's really important that we look for 4 characteristics when it comes to our habits, right? Number 1, that they're obvious. Number 2, that they're attractive. Number 3, that they're easy. And number 4, that it's satisfying. And here's what I mean. Number 1, the habit should be what you're looking should do should be obvious. Like, for example, I want to eat better. I really got a bad habit with fast food. Okay. It is store chains all up and down the street on the way to my house. And when I finish the day and it's cold on days like this, the first thing that I want to do is just pull in, go get me some fast food, right? And so in order for me to become the person that I'm looking to be, somebody that eats well and takes care of themselves, well, I got to make it obvious, right? So one of those things for me is like going to HEB, grabbing some fruit, because I know I'm going to eat it at some point during the day. And I even had to get more obvious than that, right? I'm at the stage in my life where please cut the fruit for me. Because if I got to do a whole bunch of things, then I'm not going to continue the habit, right? So the first thing is that it has to be obvious. Is it in front of you, right? If you want to run, are your shoes ready to go by the door? Is it obvious, right? What cue do you have set? The second thing is it has to be attractive. You got to want it more than anybody else. You got to look at it and say, man, I start eating right, man. Watch out now. Watch out now. You know what I'm saying? What about the goal excites you? What's attractive about that? Number three, it has to be easy, right? So in order for me to eat well, I've got to set it up to where because it's very easy for me to go to fast food. Let's make that very clear. So if I try to like go big and go bold and say I want to eat better, so I'm gonna go get all these cookbooks, knowing daggone well I ain't no chef. Well, then I'm kind of setting myself up for disappointment, not success, disappointment. So how can I make that easy? Well, for me, like I said, it's going to HEB, grab some fruit, put it in the refrigerator. One decision. It's not chips, right? Slight yet significant. And then number four is satisfying. What do you get out of accomplishing this goal? Now, here's the thing. When we talk about these things and we talk about these goals, like I said, so many times they're set big and then we focus on the outcome that we just get lost in the sauce and we really don't accomplish anything. So here's what was shared with me, right? In addition to these four traits that you want with your habits, well, there are three tips in order for you to accomplish them. And number one, it's your identity, the process, and the outcome. So if I want to eat well, then what does that identity look like? Who is a person that eats well? What does that person do? What choices do they make? Where do they shop? What do they buy? Right? How do you take on the identity of what you're looking to become? Right? If you want to start running, your goal is not to run a marathon. The goal is to become a runner. Right? If you want to read more books, the goal is not to read 50 books. The goal is to become a reader, right? You set the habit of reading every day. You set the habit of putting on your sneakers and going outside for a walk or a run every day, right? The slight yet significant steps that can create the process that you know works for you, right? So the reason I can say leave your shoes at the door is because I know that works for me, right? It's a cue. So what cue do you have for the habits that you're looking to set? Well, every time I pass my door and I see my sneakers there, I'm like, man, now you either gonna go running or you're gonna put your sneakers up in the closet. Which one is the two, right? So what cue do you have that's triggering you? And then number three, what's the outcome that you're looking for, right? Why is it important? And so another way of looking at this is be, do, have. Who must I become and what must I do so that I can have the things I desire? Does that make sense? Fantastic. So the reason I share all of this, like I said, is because a lot of times I think that we can get caught up in comparison. I maybe not y'all, maybe not y'all. Me. I can get caught up in this idea of comparison. What are other people doing? What are they doing? Oh my goodness, they're going hard, they're going strong, they're going right in the paint, and we almost use it as an ego and a pedestal, right? I ran 50 miles today. What you do? Wow, I'm still struggling just to jog one street and I'm out of breath, right? And so this weird comparison thing starts happening and it keeps us from accomplishing anything. So I just want you guys to give yourself permission that, like I always say, life is not a group project. Your goals don't have to look like theirs and vice versa. And you don't have to go big and hard. I was talking to a friend the other day and I said, you know what? Lauryn Hill had one album, one album. The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. And she did a lot of work with other artists, but she had one album. 30 years later, we still talk about it. What's the lesson? You can do one thing really well and change your life and change the lives of others. I really want to stress this because unlike most people, I actually don't believe that you need to burn yourself out into exhaustion to be successful. I think that's a toxic narrative. And what happens is it creates this sporadic trend of what it is we want in our life. We go hard for 1 week, then we crash out and burn. And so the reason I say start small is because consistency beats intensity every day. And you may do better. You may serve yourself well if you start small and finish strong. I talked about 5 gates. So another thing about this is we know that in order for you to succeed in any good thing, you got to watch your gates. But a lot of times, it's like, man, what does that even mean? And I wrote about it earlier. I hope that you guys definitely check out the Abundantly Thinking VIP members platform. And I shared this thought. I said a lot of times, who we are is the result of what we're watching, right? Our gates. So, what are our gates? Our gates are our eyes, our ears, our mouth, our heart, and our mind. What are we watching? What are we listening to? What are we speaking to ourselves and to others? What is our heart? It's above all things, guarded. And then what are our minds? How are we protecting our thoughts, right? If thoughts become things and it's more than just in the positive, right? Manifestation happens beyond just the good stuff, right? You could be manifesting a life you don't desire because you think and speak and look at things that justify complexity in order for it to be worthy of success. I don't think that always has to be true, right? So when we're talking about who you choose to be this year, the first thing I ask is, what are you going to listen to? What are you going to watch? What are you going to read? Who are you going to surround yourself with? What are you going to talk about? What are you going to meditate on? What are you going to think about? Because so often we focus on outcomes and then we compare ourselves to outcomes. I told my friend the other day, I said, I don't know. I feel like I haven't gotten anything done, right? It's comparing myself to outcomes, products. And the reality is that's not, I'm not trying to put out no album, right? And so what is the identity? And a lot of times that identity is going to tie into a personal mission. So before we really focus on your goals, who are you and why are you here? What's your personal mission? 3 tips: identity, process, and outcome. So I wanted to share that with you guys because I believe that this is going to be a very exciting year. I started in the beginning. I said, everybody asks you the word. My word is excited. Excitement, exciting, excited, every root of the word. That's me, right? Because I choose to believe that 2025 is going to be incredible. And not because a situation is good or bad, but because I know all good things work for the good of those who love the Lord. So when you have these things anchored in your heart, it makes it very easy for you to navigate the noise of whatever's happening in your life. And that's what I charge you guys with. I shared with you that I talked to a friend and I was like, man, I don't know. I feel like I haven't gotten anything done. And a lot of times the reason why we don't get things done is because we're relying on perfection. And we're so afraid to start because we're afraid to be seen trying, right? I don't have the right equipment. The camera quality is this. And the reality of the matter is none of that matters. You just have to start. Because one thing I truly believe, people either watching or they not. And if they're not watching, it don't matter. And if they are watching, then keep going. Because the point of done is to start. So I'm going to leave you guys with this. It's called the Cult of Done Manifesto. I'm going to look this way because I got to read it. I just want you to think about this. There are 3 states of being: not knowing, action, and completion. Accept that everything is a draft. It hopes to get things done. There is no editing stage. Pretending you know what you're doing is almost the same as knowing what you're doing. So just accept the fact that you know what you're doing, even if you don't, and do it. Banish procrastination. If you wait more than a week to get an idea done, abandon it. The point of being done is not to finish, yet to get other things done. Once you're done, you can throw it away. Laugh at perfection. It's boring and it keeps you from getting things done. People without dirty hands are wrong. Doing something makes you right. Destruction is a variant of done. If you have an idea and publish it on the internet, that counts as the ghost of done. Done is the engine of doing more. So I leave you guys with this manifesto. I didn't write it. It came across my world and I'm sharing it with you. Is that today, I just want you to do the thing. Face the fear. Get through it anyway. because what you do is going to give you the evidence for what you need to do next. And there's no way that you're going to be able to think through all of the outcomes and get in front of all of the answers. So the best thing that you can do is just press post, publish it, and thank everybody for tuning in. You guys, I'm Chase Sloan. I do hope you join the VIP membership club. It's on Patreon. You can go ahead and click the link in my bio. There are free memberships right now. I'm not sure how long that's going to last, but if you sign up today, you'll definitely get in. I hope to see you guys over there. You guys take care and stay warm.